Presenting representatives of the alumni classes. Presenting delegates from academic institutions and learned societies. Presenting representatives, senior administrators, and trustees of Columbia University. Presenting faculty of Barnard College. presenting the senior leadership of Barnard College. Presenting trustees and trustees emeriti of Barnard College, followed by representatives of the Inauguration Committee. Presenting former presidents of Barnard College. Presenting our speakers for this afternoon's ceremony, Trustee Jyoti Menon, Provost and Dean of the Faculty Linda Bell, representing the staff of Barnard College, Alexa Easter, representing the faculty of Barnard College, Chris Baswell, representing the students of Barnard College, Mariam Sissoko, representing the trustees of Barnard College, Cheryl Glicker Milstein. Special guests, on behalf of Columbia University, President Manoush Shafiq, honored speaker Martha Minow, honored speaker Nalini Kotamaraju, and the president of Barnard College, Laura Ann Rosenbury.
Good afternoon. My name is Jyoti Menon. I'm a member of the class of 2001 and a trustee at Barnard College. It is my privilege to open this ceremony to inaugurate Laura Ann Rosenbury as the 9th president of Barnard College. Before we start our speaking program, I invite you to take out the candle that you received when you walked in. One of the most special things about a college experience is how students learn to illuminate the world, brightening the future with their curiosity and courage, and showing us how to see things in a new light. As I name the different groups of the global Barnard community who are with us today, please switch on your candle when you hear the one that you belong to. On behalf of the trustees of Barnard College, I extend special greetings to President Rosenbury's family and friends, the presidents and representatives of colleges, universities, and philanthropic foundations, delegates from learned societies, and the elected officials who have joined us today. We also greatly appreciate the presence of Columbia University President Manoush Shafiq, her colleagues, and others from the university community who mark this important transition with us and who continue to uphold and advance our unique partnership. And we come together, the alumni, I have to wait, parents, students, faculty, staff, my fellow trustees, former presidents, and friends of Barnard College, to honor the achievements of President Rosenbury and to attest to our hope and faith in the college's future. I invite you now to take a moment to look around the room and take in the sight of that beautiful Barnard blue that illuminates our community. And let me tell you, it's a great sight from up here. As you put away your candle, was it? Hopefully someone got a photo somewhere. As you put away your candle, I encourage you to remember that even just a small beam of light can be the difference between darkness and being able to make out the words on the page. While reading the words aid us in our learning and understanding, there's much more to comprehension. The alchemy that turns ink into ideas and inspiration doesn't come from the light. It comes from our willingness to engage with the text, to employ our curiosity, to revisit what we've seen before and what we think we know. The light is our guiding tool. May your light be bright and steadfast, particularly in the pursuit of knowledge and wisdom. And now, please welcome Provost and Dean of the Faculty, Linda Bell.
Thank you, Jyoti. As Provost, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Barnard College on this historic occasion, the ceremony of inauguration of Laura Ann Rosenbury as the 9th president of Barnard College. Many have joined us to celebrate today. To the college and university presidents who have joined from around the country, to the representatives of New York's city and state governments, to the deans and president of Columbia University, to our valued trustees, to our alumni, and as always, to our faculty, to our staff, and to our students, welcome. And of course, a very special welcome to the family and close friends of our new president. We are so glad to have all of you with us today. On behalf of Barnard College, it is my pleasure to welcome our 9th president, Laura Ann Rosenbury. At moments of transition like this one, we look, Janus-faced, both to the past and to the future. I am proud of our past. Barnard is built on a long tradition of intellectual bravery, of independent thinkers and strong leaders, and recent years have seen us grow stronger in what we offer our students, our faculty, and the world around us. We have expanded opportunities for students whose backgrounds are underrepresented in higher education. We have become the premier liberal arts college for women seeking careers in STEM, and we have remained committed to the tenets of a liberal arts education and to intellectual exploration while increasing career opportunities for our graduates. During this period, we have also grown our faculty, attracting world-renowned scholars to our already impressive ranks. We've created academic centers, departments, programs that make new forms of scholarship possible at Barnard. And we've deepened our important relationship with Columbia, enhancing our unique status as a liberal arts college with the intellectual resources of a renowned research university. I know that President Rosenbury will build on these foundations. President Rosenbury brings to Barnard her distinguished record in feminist legal scholarship, along with vast experience as an academic leader. But perhaps more important, her lived experience has taught her the transformative power of an intellectually rich undergraduate environment. She knows that power. She is committed to ensuring that all students can feel that power, and I am confident that this commitment will guide the choices she makes as our president. This is not the easiest moment to assume the presidency of Barnard, but I have great faith in Laura's intellectual prowess, her commitment to undergraduate education, her strong moral and ethical compass, and her belief in the value of intellectual pluralism. As I've worked closely with her over the past 6 months, all of these qualities have been in strong evidence, and I have also been struck by her kindness, her empathy, her deep humanity, and her exceptional openness and ability to listen. Laura knows that diverse voices coming together enhance and amplify the way we learn, the way we think, and what we aspire to. Barnard absolutely needs all these qualities. So as we step over this threshold into Barnard's future, the strength of our history behind us, we look to you, President Rosenbury, and I know that you will lead us with intelligence and with care. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost Bell. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexa. I have the honor today and the ambitious, if not impossible, task of speaking on behalf of staff at the college. Last year, I was a student here. I served on the Presidential Search Committee to hire Barnard's 9th president. Now, I'm a staff member in Barnard's Center for Engaged Pedagogy, and I'm part of the Inauguration Committee to formally welcome Laura Rosenbury into our community. Being a student turned staff member gives me a unique understanding of Barnard. I've interacted with every corner of this campus, from the toddlers in the toddler center who are still learning to speak, to the trustees whose voices determine the leader of the institution, to the students whose voices at once shaped the discourse of this campus and are finding shape around the seminar table. President Laura Rosenbury, welcome. As you may have noticed, Barnard students are open-minded yet unshakable in their values. But this is for the better. So, true to form, I welcome you with a provocation. Barnard exists as a place that challenges the status quo. You can see this from the college's initial founding to the legacy of its graduates making waves in industry from science to law to film. That's because Barnard has always been a place by and for change makers. The people who make up our community are those who question the world around them. And to question, at first glance, may look a little like opposition. And this is where I provoke you. To question is really reaching for something much grander, a new version of the world, one that reflects our values. Challenge is actually an invitation into the conversation. Barnard's role, its existential imperative in the world, is to provide a place for young people to figure out their ideas, articulate them, and be met with opposing views. It's easy to see moments of disagreement as something to fix, but resistance and opposition are not a deficit in our effort to build a better world. These qualities are a prerequisite, and they're uniquely Barnard. In the version of Barnard I imagine, students trust administrators to show up in ways that empower students. And it's a two-way street. Administrators also need to tune into students' concerns. Here, tradition means pushing against tradition and imagining something else together, something bigger, dare I say, bolder. President Rosenbury, you're a feminist legal scholar. Your work dares to ask, what would gender look like in a world where care provided by friends is recognized by family law? In other words, you'll fit right in here. Welcome to Barnard, and welcome to the conversation. We look forward to imagining a better world with you. Thank you. I now have the privilege of turning the microphone over to Professor Chris Baswell, the Ann Whitney Olin Professor of English, who will speak on behalf of the faculty.
Trustees, colleagues, honored guests, and President Laura Rosenbury, I bear you greetings and welcome from the over 280 faculty at Barnard College. My own association with Barnard now stretches back 40 years across 5 presidents and nearly a third of Barnard's entire history. Today, in grateful acknowledgement of my predecessors, I wear the doctoral robes of the late Remington Patterson, who taught among us beginning in 1955 and was both professor of English and the dean of this college. I hope then that I can also speak in welcome from colleagues across those 40 years, and in turn from a collective memory that reaches back across the thousands of faculty who have served Barnard since we began our collective task in 1889. Just among our current cohort, we bring you a stellar faculty. We number winners of the Pulitzer Prize, 2 of us, fellows of the Guggenheim Foundation, the Institute for Advanced Study, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Carnegie Endowment, the National Humanities Center. We pursue research funded by the NSF, the National Institutes of Health, NASA, and the Mellon Foundation. We have received career awards from the National Science Foundation and the Wellcome Institute, and we hold yet other honors too numerous and glittering to mention. I am breathless at my peers' accomplishments. Together, since 1889, your faculty has educated more than 50,000 remarkable women, helping them prepare to be distinguished novelists, social workers, performers, scientists, jurists, educators, filmmakers, physicians, breakers of glass ceilings, activists, protesters who endlessly open new doors for the Barnard students who will succeed them. Madam President, in the spring of 1945, your predecessor and our first dean, Virginia Gildersleeve, was depressed. She had spent months in San Francisco at a conference to draft the Charter of the United Nations, the sole female representative on the U.S. delegation. Among a panoply of nations sharing many common concerns and hopes for the UN, she had encountered seemingly endless meetings and squabbles over concepts, procedures, and language. She found herself alone on a long elevator ride with the Soviet ambassador, Andrei Gromyko, at that time a friendly face. She later wrote, "In a mood of some discouragement, I said, 'Well, Mr. Ambassador, words, words, words.'" And Mr. Gromyko replied, "Well, words, 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 but behind words is meaning, and behind meaning is life." That last sentence remains a pretty good summary of what your faculty tries to teach every day: how to move from words or data to meaning, and from meaning to life. Endless meetings and squabbles notwithstanding, the San Francisco conference did create a template for the United Nations. Out of high emotions, even anger, common cause emerged. Your predecessor did sign the Charter of the United Nations. Moving now through our own terribly difficult time, we bring you a faculty not unlike that conference, equally dedicated to finding our common cause within and by means of our bedrock commitment to open debate, freedom of speech, and due process in faculty governance, which also stretches back to 1889. From a cohort that began under the deanship of Virginia Gildersleeve and arrives in this room and this day, we welcome you as the newest and my 5th president of Barnard College.
Hi, my name is Miriam Sissoko, and I am honored to serve as the president of the Student Government Association. Today marks a momentous occasion as we welcome the 9th president of Barnard College, Laura Ann Rosenbury. To commemorate this day is to recognize our roots. Years ago, Barnard was founded on the radical idea of educating women. 1889 not only marked the opening of Barnard as the first college in New York City to offer degrees to women, it was a paradigm shift, as that boldly proclaimed that women too possess the fortitude to confront the often uncomfortable realities of the world and the tenacity to face those challenges head on. This is the legacy which drew me and countless others to Barnard. Here, I follow in the footsteps of trailblazers such as Grace Lee Boggs, Justine Collier, Zora Neale Hurston, and the myriad of Barnard women, trans, and non-binary individuals who have changed the world in countless ways. President Rosenbury, you are now entrusted with guiding a new generation of world changers. The responsibility you have is not only a deeply important one, but a sacred one. The impact-driven spirit of a Barnard student requires your cultivation, your encouragement, and your defense. As I prepare to bid farewell to Barnard as a student, I implore you to see students as equal partners in Barnard's future. As students share their wants, their needs, and their desires with you, I hope that you prioritize, safeguard, and nurture them. It is true that the idea of educating women is not nearly as radical today as it was in 1889. However, in a time in our country and world where it seems that our freedoms, including our freedom of expression, are at profound risk, there is something radical about a college community where students are pushed to not only imagine a better world, but to actually put that imagination into action. President Rosenbury, in your presidency, let the guiding principles of your student body, care and solidarity, be your guiding lights. Foster an environment where our community can not only survive in times of hardship and division, but flourishes. As president, you are the most visible model of leadership to our student body. The example you set for the next generation of students matters. Barnard College is a living, breathing testament to the transformative power of education and the strength that arises when we unite to empower one another to reach our highest potential. Barnard students are working to address the daunting global challenges we are going to inherit, while honoring and learning from the past of our predecessors. As we enter this new chapter of Barnard, together, let us continue to embody the spirit of Barnard, an intrinsically radical, unafraid spirit that is defined by excellence, by empathy, and the ever-growing hope that a better world is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam, for that incredible welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cheryl Glicker-Milstein. I have the distinct privilege of being not only the Barnard Board of Trustees Chair, but a Barnard alumna, a proud Barnard parent, and most recently, a proud grandma of a Barnard Toddler Center student. This is only the 9th time in our 135-year history that Barnard has gathered to inaugurate a new president. Each has been a new leader for a new moment, with their own learning curve, their own challenges, their own path forward. Through it all, they have helped Barnard evolve and brought us to where we are today. When the search committee began our work, we went looking for the best qualified person to lead Barnard in this moment. Soon enough, we had our first meeting with Laura Rosenbury. Right away, we knew a few things. She was gifted and brilliant, as you might expect, an honors student from Harvard Law School, Harvard undergrad. She had the uncanny ability to connect with every person in the room. Each committee member saw the way Laura's values aligned so well with Barnard's own. We learned how her scholarly writing had sparked national conversations on postmodern feminist legal theory, the evolving idea of marriage for women, the connection between feminist movement and children's rights, and much, much more. We learned she was results-driven, how at the University of Florida Levin College of Law, she had overseen a 27-spot jump in the U.S. News rankings, how she raised more than $100 million at a public institution and built a transformative new student center which brought everything students needed under one roof, from collaborative places to study, to career counseling services, and to support mental health. We learned Laura was bold, and how she launched new scholarships to bring more HBCU graduates into the field of law, a program that is growing today, and how even during COVID, Laura literally paid out of her pocket to support law students in need. Those would be great qualities for any Barnard leader in any moment. So why Laura? Why now? In that first interview, Laura told us that she wasn't really looking for a new job, but that Barnard was different. What would it mean to her to lead a women's college right now, the best women's college right now? Yeah. How everything in her life had prepared her for this role and this moment. We saw Laura had fallen in love with women's studies courses as an undergrad at Harvard, and how that led to decades of immersing herself in critical theory and public policy through the lens of women and families. We learned how motivating it was early on in Laura's career to work at the National Office of Planned Parenthood and see the impact her colleagues with law degrees were making, fighting for reproductive rights in courts, shaping public policy to help more women get health care, giving voice to families who had never had one. We wake up every day in a world where women see our fundamental rights under attack, our hard-fought progress being dragged backwards on equal pay, voting rights, career opportunities, and autonomy over our own bodies. We have a leader in Laura who has devoted her life to taking on these fights, who knows how to push through to traditional boundaries and drive change, who leads with quiet strength and conviction, and provides examples for every one of our students. I'll close with a quick story. From her very first day, Laura understood intuitively how important that sense of community is to Barnard, how important those personal relationships are. She set out to meet every faculty member. She sat down with students and staff. And one day early last fall, she came to my house for an event with alumni. The weather wasn't cooperating, like today. It was raining, and the clouds were ominous. Yet soon enough, the rain stopped, and we were able to go outside. Laura began to speak, and just as she did, a beautiful rainbow appeared directly behind her. And I know you think this is the kind of story that someone might make up for this event, but I have proof. There we go. There it is. And it's a great reminder that when different colors are banded together, just as when different members of the community come together, they form something very beautiful. Laura, we are so glad to have you as the leader of our beautiful community. We are fully behind you, and we know that together we are all just getting started. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce another extraordinary leader. She is a distinguished economist for who more than 3 decades has served in senior leadership roles across a range of prominent international and academic institutions. She has made history as the first woman to serve as the president of Columbia University, and from her first day, she understood and sought to deepen the special relationship between Barnard and Columbia. We know we had something good in Laura, and Columbia knew they had something good in Manouche when she immediately found the owl hidden inside the alma mater statue. Could you ask for anything better? It was a beautiful sign. And it's beautiful to be here in this historic moment where we have 2 incredible institutions being led by 2 incredible women. It is my great honor to introduce the president of Columbia University, Manouche Shafiq.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for that incredibly kind introduction. And it is such an honor to be here this afternoon with all of you to celebrate formally the inauguration of Barnard's 9th president, Laura Ann Rosenbury. I want to take a moment first to recognize everyone in the room, my fellow speakers, students, faculty, staff, trustees, and alumni, and many friends who are here today. President Rosenbury, Laura, please accept my deepest congratulations on behalf of the entire Columbia community. Barnard and Columbia are both fortunate to have you. The relationship between Columbia and Barnard, the mutually enriching partnership that allows both of our institutions to thrive, is very special. Barnard was created in 1889 because of Columbia's failure to admit women, despite the best efforts of its 10th president, Frederick Barnard. Look how far we have come. 135 years later, we are affiliates, partners with distinct identities, unique strengths, and led by 2 women. Columbia benefits. That's great, yeah? That's good. Columbia benefits immeasurably from this relationship. Our undergraduates take advantage of the rich array of curricular and extracurricular experiences here. Your undergraduates take classes, they play sports, they join clubs, and live and work with our students, including the odd demonstration, bringing their singularly wonderful Barnard energy and talents to all that they do. The same holds for our faculty. They find teaching and research capabilities complemented by their distinguished colleagues on the other side of Broadway. I hope you agree that Barnard benefits from its unique relationship with Columbia and that your students, faculty, staff, and alumni also profit tremendously from what we have to offer. And our alumni, in turn, are proud to count some of the most celebrated women in the world as partners and friends. I thought it would be fitting to quote some of those Barnard women that may be relevant to Laura's inauguration today. And I'll start with the great writer of the Harlem Renaissance, Zora Neale Hurston, who was mentioned earlier. Zora Neale Hurston once said, "Sometimes I feel discriminated against, but it doesn't make me angry. It merely astonishes me. How can anyone deny themselves the pleasure of my company?" And from the pioneering anthropologist Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And so, Laura, you have such a proud tradition of confidence, sassiness, pride, and ambition in Barnard. And I wish you all the best for your presidency as you build on that great tradition to take Barnard further forward in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Shafiq. I know from the start that you and President Rosenbury have been committed to modeling how leaders can work together magnanimously to the benefit of both of your institutions. Beyond your partnership with President Rosenbury, Columbia and Barnard are deeply connected via our shared location in New York, which has shaped our schools and has provided so many opportunities for our students, faculty, staff, and alumni to contribute to this great city. And so I am honored to share this mayoral citation on behalf of the City of New York. Laura has always been a driver of change, and on the occasion of her inauguration, I commend her clear vision and strong leadership skills. I look forward to the many ways she will propel Barnard and our great city into a new era of discovery, equality, and academic rigor. Our next speaker can also attest to this description of President Rosenbury and her transformative leadership. As an alumna and a trustee, I believe that one of the most extraordinary aspects of Barnard is its ability to forge transformative friendships and mentorships. I am honored to welcome to the podium someone who has had such a relationship with President Rosenbury. Martha Minow, who first met President Rosenbury as her professor at Harvard Law School. Professor Minow is, of course, a legend in law and public service. Her expertise spans human rights, constitutional law, international criminal justice, and many other subfields. She has dedicated decades of her life and work to peace building in post-conflict societies and to legal advocacy for members of racial and religious minorities and for women, children, and people with disabilities. In the years since they first met, Professor Minow has also been a mentor of the highest caliber to President Rosenbury. That their relationship still thrives today is a testament to their commitment and to the spirit of Barnard alive in each of them. Please welcome Martha Minow.
Connect, attend, envision, be here now. These are words of advice to a leader, and they're also perfect descriptions of Barnard's new leader, Laura Rosenbury. These ideas come from her scholarly work, They come from my knowing this dazzling human being across her days as a student, a lawyer, a professor, a dean, and a close friend. In each of these contexts, Laura connects with people. She connects ideas. She gives the gift of attention. She imagines splendid possibilities, and she stays fully in the present moment without losing sight of past and future. Laura Rosenbury's memorable scholarship is imbued with appreciation of relationships. She illuminates friendship, not a usual subject for lawyers. She sheds light on the value and the risks of workplace relationships, the value to individuals, to productivity and commitment, and the risks of bias and inequality. She draws connections with social science findings and with pop cultural depictions, for example, of work wives. She's even examined the potential impact of friendships on corporate governance. Laura's uncanny ability to see how individuals' ideas and seemingly disconnected realms connect is no doubt connected, get it, with her huge talent for an appreciation of relationships. In an innovative article, Laura brought discerning attention to children's relationships outside of school and home. In playgrounds, parks, childcare centers, places of worship, community centers, relationships enabled by sports, dance, music clubs, scouting, and cyberspace. She brings attention. And attention means noticing even neglected dimensions, looking at evidence, not assumptions, and focusing on the experiences of others. This is precisely the perceptive caring that Laura brings every day as a leader. Central is envisioning what could be. And even while a law student, Laura imagined how athletics could be different with the engagement of women. She rejected the then prevailing zero-sum view that more opportunities for women meant fewer for men, and today she would be the first to talk about women identifying individuals. She drew upon and reimagined feminist theory. That is dynamic inventiveness at work, and it is the same quality animating her job success, improving every aspect of Levin College of Law. Such success depends on vision. And as former president of Liberia, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf once said, "If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough." Laura's dreams are big enough, and she delivers. A final crucial quality is dwelling in the here and now. For Laura, that means attending the experiences of every member of the community, and especially the students who have real lives in the present, even as they and many around them are focused on their futures. Schooling is not just a means to an end, says Laura. It's also a vibrant world of present experiences. And as she has written about young people, Laura sees Barnard students not only as people invested in their futures, but as individuals with current interests, relationships, curiosities, capacities, and protest powers. Comedian George Burns once noted, "If you can fake sincerity, you've got it made." Well, with Laura, it's all authentic. Relationships, attention, vision, and being here now. Laura Rosenbury is proof that a leader can be both compassionate and strong. She connects, she attends, she envisions, she makes the here and now memorable. And relationships for Laura are for good. And that is why I'm particularly delighted to share this joyous day, and also now to turn the podium over to her longtime friend, such a dear friend that she came to Laura's law school graduation, where I first met Nalini Kotamramju.
There's a lot going on here. Okay. Hi. I am here because I had the very good fortune to be randomly assigned to be Laura's roommate our very first year at Harvard. This is why I stand before you. During our undergraduate years, I built the strongest of friendships. Laura is my chosen family. Her extended family is an extension of my own. And our friendship is one of the things I value most from my undergraduate experience. So in preparation for these remarks, when Laura asked me to make them, I thought, wow, she must really trust me to let her college roommate get up in front of a whole group of people and share her experiences. But I'm going to hopefully do right by them. So I thought about what I might share. I thought of the first thing, somebody mentioned compassion and kindness, and one of the things I always think about our early friendship is the compassion she showed. We lived together all 4 years, but it took me until my sophomore year to realize that Laura was in no shape or form a morning person. So I had spent my first year getting up super early, 6:30 in the a.m., and going do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And Laura, in her kindness, let me go on. She knew I needed that, and it wasn't until we knew each other a little better that she course-corrected in a gentle way. The second thing, which often happens in college, was I considered her questionable, inexplicable beverage choices in college. Right, you think you know where this is going, but you don't. Laura really liked Tab. So some of you in the audience may be wondering, what on earth is Tab? Tab no longer exists, which it shouldn't, because it is gross beyond belief. Laura drank a lot of Tab. So I thought of those moments, which are clearly precious to me, but then I also thought about two sort of threads of experience I've had of Laura that might resonate and foreshadow the experience I think you are already having and will continue to have with Laura, as a leader, as a colleague, as an intellectual, as a professor, as a thought partner, as a visionary, and as a transformative leader. I think of two things. One is the focus on women, which you've heard here. When Laura told me she had accepted this role, I laughed aloud in joy at the absolute rightness of the fit. The idea of Laura leading a college for women, a college as revered as Barnard is, seemed completely consistent with the value she'd always placed on the importance of women. This is something we shared. I'm the product of single-sex school from grade 1 to 12. My daughter, 12-year-old, who's in the audience with me, is at an all-girls school in San Francisco, the Hamlin School for Girls. Laura and I shared this passion for single-sex education. As somebody mentioned earlier, Laura was a women's studies concentration, Harvard's fancy word for major. What's interesting to note is Laura was a women's studies concentration, full stop. It wasn't women's studies in English or women's studies in economics or women's studies in something else. The doubters and the haters at the time, and it was back in the day, right, we're a little bit older, implied that doing women's studies alone as a concentration would not prepare her enough intellectually as a career and lay the foundation. But Laura believed otherwise. She held firm that women's studies in and of itself was enough, that women were enough, and that women could be the subject. The second quality of Laura that stemmed from college, which the people have already spoken about, is this idea of exploration. The joy of a liberal arts education is this broad exposure to ideas. It's not just ideas and topics, but it's also people. And it's that foundation that leads for a rich, meaningful life, personally and professionally. But in order to take the greatest advantage of a liberal arts education, you have to come ready. You have to come ready, open, not just in mind, but open in heart to what broad exposure you might have. In a world that moves really quickly to specialize, to pigeonhole, to label, to narrow, Laura came with a different attitude. It hasn't come up yet, but Laura thought she was going to be pre-med for a while. She took all of the science courses our first years, and in very Rosenbury style, she excelled in them. She decided she wanted to study something else. She also explored other careers in a way that I never had the courage to, and probably was a little sanctimonious about. The best investment banks chased her upon graduation to come join them. And she could have and decided to do something else. She explored all throughout her undergraduate years with an open heart and mind. And we shouldn't confuse having that open heart and mind with not having a strong point of view. or rock-solid morals, which I bear witness to from her family, her parents who are here, and her siblings, who, all I can say, raised her right. The quality comes that Laura has from trying, daring, assessing, pivoting, learning, listening, as you've heard, iterating and improving, combined with a sharp intellect and really strong core values. You know, all the things that we value in a leader, and all the things that I value in my dearest friend. Congratulations, Barnard, and congratulations, Laura. Thank you.
I'm Linda Rosenbury, Laura's little sister. Laura has always been a teacher. It started when she was young, teaching piano lessons to the neighborhood kids. It was with me and my brothers who she inspired also to academic excellence, and it continued. She realized as a lawyer that she wanted to be a teacher, and she became a professor, an assistant dean, and now the president of Barnard College.
I know President Rosenbury from that stage of her life before she became a scholar and academic. Laura was a clerk for me in my chambers. My wife is an alum of Barnard, and I understand the commitment to education for women, the gift of the lifelong pursuit of learning, curiosity, experience, usefulness, creativity. Laura's scholarship on the feminist side of legal studies will find focus and outlet as she leads a college for young women. She is a role model for anybody seeking a productive and goal-directed life.
I met Laura Rosenbury as a student in the first class she ever taught at Washington University School of Law. Laura is a great leader because she gives of her time and talents all day, every day, to individuals and the communities that she serves. She is there to listen, to learn, to guide, and most importantly, to celebrate our successes.
As a former student of then Professor Rosenbury, she was truly a trailblazer. She put out theories and ideas that seemed crazy at the time, and 15 years later, the court recognized them, and really, she pushed the boundaries, and she pushed kind of each one of us as her students to think bigger than the current confines of the law and the world.
Laura is a strategic thinker. She assesses her goals and priorities and then sets out to develop a plan of action to realize her goal. Her steady approach to moving the Levin College of Law forward was remarkably effective, and that has earned her a national reputation and the gratitude of the University of Florida.
Laura is successful because she every day demonstrates exceptional leadership through her hard work, through her commitment to the college, as well as a commitment to our students. Every decision was for the students at UF Law. The students at Barnard will benefit and see that same commitment throughout the college.
To describe Laura Rosenbury, you would have to describe her as this: tenacious. Here's the person that you got. This is a high achiever who is very, very competitive. Laura, you are as good as it gets. You are a shooting star.
Laura and Barnard are a perfect fit. Throughout her life, starting with me, she has supported young women in realizing their dreams. She's wonderful at listening to people with different perspectives, bringing them together, focusing on what's important, and I'm confident that she will continue Barnard's long-standing tradition of excellence in women's education.
Congratulations, Laura. I hope that your tenure is long and distinguished, and that you take from it great fulfillment.
Laura, congratulations on your presidency of Barnard College. It is so well deserved.
Congratulations, Laura. I have watched in awe and admiration as you have ascended to become president of Barnard College.
I'd like to extend my personal congratulations to Laura on her presidency, and also the best wishes and congratulations on behalf of the University of Florida.
Congratulations, Laura. I'm excited for all the wonderful things Laura will do for Barnard College and the way that it will soar in the future.
The sky is definitely the limit. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Laura. We are so proud of you.
Now the wedding part. Okay. Now the time has come to present Laura Ann Rosenbury, the symbol of the Barnard presidency, and to charge her with the responsibilities of the position. The insignia of the office of the President of Barnard College is a medal fashioned of gold, bronze, and silver. Show and tell. It hangs from a chain set with pearls and lapis lazuli beads. Lapis lazuli selected because the blue color is Barnard's color. On the face of the medal is Athena, goddess of wisdom, with her owl. Inscribed next to her in Greek is the Barnard motto, following the way of reason. Echoing a custom of the Middle Ages, it says in Latin on the reverse, "Me Gerrit Phases, the president of Barnard College wears me." Your turn. Jewelry time. Laura Ann Rosenbury. On behalf of the Barnard Board of Trustees, before the company assembled here, it is my honor to have you presented your insignia of the office. We hereby entrust you with the administration of Barnard College with the greatest pride and confidence.
Wow. Thank you, Martha and Nalini, for those touching introductions. And thank you, Jyoti and Cheryl, for this very beautiful, if slightly heavy, medallion. More seriously, Cheryl, thank you for all you do for Barnard every day. Please forgive me as I take a moment to soak this all in. It means so much to be surrounded by our students who amaze me every day with their passion, their ideas, and their willingness to push boundaries. With our faculty and staff, my colleagues, who show up each and every day for our students because they believe so firmly in the mission of Barnard. And I want to say I'm so honored to be surrounded by our trustees who have put their faith in me and supported me from day one. And the question is, how do we channel our differences? How do we create a space where we can have civil discourse, where we can channel our activism productively, the way Barnard always has? How do we embrace dialogue across different views? I stand here today on the shoulders of the 12 leaders of Barnard who have come before me, 4 deans and 8 presidents, including President Ellen Futter and President Sion Bylock, who join us here today. I also thank President Shafiq, the delegates from Columbia, and the delegates from all of the other colleges and universities for being with us here today. And as our students know, you don't arrive at a place as exceptional as Barnard by yourself. So I also want to thank my wonderful family. My partner Randall, my mom and dad, my brothers Jake and Jason, my sister Linda. I want to thank my amazing friends from college, law school, and beyond. I want to thank my mentors, my former colleagues and students, and my former bosses who have joined me. Thank you, Judge. Without you, I would not be here today. And it's difficult for me to stand at this lectern, not just because of the shouting, but also because this is the same place where leaders like Dr. King, Marian Wright Edelman, Nelson Mandela stood. And I can't think of that without reflecting on the journey that brought me here. My childhood revolved around a family farm with corn and soybeans, Holstein dairy cattle, and chickens, as well as a church community rooted in peace and simple living. Obviously, as our students would say, the vibes are a little different here. But when I think about it, every step in my life has been leading to this moment and this college. My life changed because dedicated educators and mentors, starting with my grandma Mabel, saw and nurtured something in me, much like educators and mentors see something in every student here today. My world opened up because of a college education rooted in small classes and a tight-knit community, one that started with Nalini and then was built around a women's studies program that gave me the chance to explore history, critical theory, and public policy through the lens of gender, race, and power and privilege more broadly. I found my passion educating, supporting, and advancing the rights of women and children at law school. Starting in Martha's civil procedure class, my first semester in law school, and her family law class during my last semester of law school. And then I went on to share that work with young women and students as an educator, as a professor myself. Although I didn't know in advance where that path would take me, I've known since my very first day on the Barnard campus, with every fiber of my being, especially over the last few minutes, that this is where I'm supposed to be. I do want to acknowledge that, yes, we are here in early February, so yes, I'm aware I'm not in Florida anymore. And I really appreciate all of you, but particularly the Floridians and my brother from Hawaii, for braving the elements. But I promise you there's a reason for this timing. Just as you can't advocate for something you don't understand, you can't have a good inauguration without taking a few months to really get to know a place. And as certainly my family and friends know, I like to be prepared. That was a lesson that was instilled in me by a law school professor who was very tough, who would obsess over the most minute details of the Uniform Commercial Code, and then grill us every day by cold calling us in rapid fire to solve secured transactions problems. Professor Elizabeth Warren is now Senator Elizabeth Warren, and she is now busy instilling those same lessons in CEOs and other leaders at every congressional hearing over which she presides. but her lessons have stayed with me. Our best work happens when we are deeply immersed in something, inside and out. I have accordingly taken 7 months to get to know this incredible college, to have hundreds and hundreds of conversations with you about what makes Barnard special and where we want to go together. Many thanks to all of you who welcomed me into your staff meetings, who invited me into your offices, who sat down with me for coffee, and participated in our community conversations and listening sessions as part of our Shaping Barnard's Future Together initiative. Thank you so much. I want to thank you. But we can't talk about the future of this great college, of how to achieve the incredible potential Barnard has right now, if we don't first talk openly and honestly about the moment we're in, as a college and as a country. The ongoing crisis in the Middle East is obviously deeply felt within our community, creating fear, anger, confusion, distrust, and often helplessness. We're at a nationwide inflection point where higher education is literally under attack. Only 36% of Americans say they have confidence in higher education right now. And higher ed is far from alone. We lack faith in our politics, which continue to grow more divisive and polarizing. We lack faith in our democracy as we see the rule of law disrespected and civil rights challenged. We lack faith in our ability to talk with one another, as our differences are no longer celebrated, but are used to pit people against one another. We feel anxious for the future, as massive challenges like the climate crisis loom. And yet, amongst all these challenges, one sits at the epicenter. One can improve, shape, and address all of these challenges to lead us to a better, healthier, more informed, more understanding, and more productive society. And that is higher education. When it comes to inspiring the future scientists, technologists, and climate activists who will save our planet, it starts here. When it comes to inspiring the artists, writers, and creative thinkers who can understand our history, put things in perspective, use their work to imagine new realities, and change hearts and minds, it starts here. When it comes to learning how to have dialogue across difference, how to reject hate, and how to embrace our diverse lived experiences, it starts here. Higher education has never had more value, and higher education has never had more potential than it does right now. But in order to reach that potential, we have to bravely lead. Barnard has transformed to meet the moment before. The Barnard of Annie Nathan Meyer's founding was different from the Barnard of a generation later, when women won the right to vote, and Zora Neale Hurston, Barnard's first Black graduate, arrived on our campus. And Barnard was even more different 40 years later, when Professors Kate Millett and Quandra Prettyman inspired new ways to engage in gender and racial politics and liberation. And now, as Miriam emphasized, we analyze and live the complexity of gender in ways that would have been unimaginable then. But at every turn, as Barnard has evolved, it has evolved with one value at its core, and that is boldness, being unafraid. the boldness that dates back to our founding, the very idea of a women's college, the boldness that emanates from our students in the classroom, as they do indeed challenge the status quo every day, the boldness of our alumni, who, among other things, are making scientific breakthroughs, affecting change in their communities, and taking on the patriarchy in the biggest blockbuster movie of the decade. And Barnard stands with Greta. This boldness is in our bones as an institution. Our bold history is who we are. It's in the DNA of every Barnard student and alumna in this room. And this moment calls for us to transform once more. We need to keep that boldness at our core, but go even farther. This moment calls for us to become an even more fearless Barnard. We will continue to evolve outward while never losing the core idea of our founding, to empower women to learn and lead. We will acknowledge and recognize where we are, identify the fears and the barriers that are in our way, and then we will walk through them bravely. We will set goals bigger than Barnard has ever set before, and then we will go out as a community and achieve them. And I want to make it very clear to you all, I am fearless when it comes to Barnard's future. When we leave this beautiful church today, I want all of us to feel that mission, that responsibility to act without fear, to be fearless as we strengthen communities of care, reimagine our infrastructure, embrace one Barnard, lead into the future, and grow our resources. These are the 5 foundations of my vision, our vision for the future. So first, we will strengthen our community by looking at what we and so many other colleges and universities have been through these last 4 months, the pain and the challenges we continue to face. We must commit to disagree better, to live up to Barnard's history and our unique position as one of the most diverse institutions in the country in terms of different demographics, lived experiences, and points of view. You know, I mentioned Annie Meyer Nathan earlier, the founder of our great college, a deep believer in women's education, who also happened to be staunchly against women's suffrage. People are complex. They contain multitudes. You know, this year's first-year class was the most selective in Barnard's history. Only 8% of the people who applied were admitted. And applications are up this year, so next year's class will be even more selective. We don't admit amazing, promising students from all walks of life in order to change their foundational beliefs. Instead, we do it to build community across our differences, across our different viewpoints, to bridge divides and engage in civil discourse, even as we disagree, especially as we disagree. We must also commit to building more community beyond our walls. We draw strength from being the best liberal arts college for women in the world. I know Smith and Mount Holyoke are also here, but the best, with a thriving partnership with Columbia, one of the best research institutions in the world, but we're also in the greatest city in the world, New York. So it's time to strengthen our relationships with Morningside Heights, Harlem, and the entire city with new and revitalized community partnerships, including those that will help us engage in that dialogue across difference. It's also time to really commit ourselves to the lifelong success and learning of women, both within the gates of Barnard and in our community at large, to ensure that there will be more women in research labs, in life-saving operating rooms, in boardrooms and corner offices, in writers' rooms, serving as elected officials or challenging elected officials, and of course, directing billion-dollar films. We need more bold and fearless women changing our world. And none of this community building is possible without a continued focus on our health and well-being. Barnard is already a national leader in making mental health and wellness a priority. We will now go further. As the physical space of our new Francine Lafrac Foundation for Wellbeing opens this summer, we'll be creating a robust wellness program that supports everyone on our campus, students, faculty, and staff, and reaches well beyond our campus as well. We will support the mental, physical, and financial well-being of women, while also emphasizing that the life of the mind, the core of Barnard's mission, is vital to a life well lived. Community is who we are at Barnard. We pursue different passions, and we passionately disagree. But we will continue to build our communities of care within our campus and throughout New York. Second, community is not just about people. We have the best faculty and staff in the world. I'll stand by that. We need our facilities to match the caliber of the people and ensure that our physical spaces promote connection and intellectual risk-taking at every turn. We are renovating and reimagining Altua Hall starting this summer, and the new Roy and Diana Vagilo Center, our R&D, will transform scientific education and research on our campus. Over 42% of our students currently major in STEM, and we want to support them in every way possible. But we also have to have innovative space for students in the social sciences, the arts, and the humanities. And our dorms, at the very least, deserve some uplift. 10 years from now, every one of our buildings will better reflect and promote our amazing community. But infrastructure also goes beyond buildings. We'll become a tech-forward institution with a robust data warehouse and centralized access to data. We'll invest in best-in-class technology systems. We'll set standards for tech literacy across campus, and we will meet them. Third, as we strengthen our communities of care and our infrastructure, we will need to do it fearlessly as one Barnard. We're going to break down administrative silos, share a sense of ownership in our campus, share data and ideas with one another, collaborate with each other and our partners across Broadway. And by working together, by sharing our diverse and often conflicting perspectives, we will unlock new forms of creativity. And collectively, we will embrace a culture of excellence for all. Fourth, we will need this creative culture of excellence in order to lead for tomorrow. Leading for the future starts with access, making sure Barnard continues to be a place where the most extraordinary women in the world, no matter their background or their ability to pay, want to attend and are able to attend. And to strengthen our commitment to access, this fall we will announce the first loan forgiveness program in our history, so that Barnard becomes much more accessible to those in the middle class. Leading for the future also means fearlessly confronting two issues that are absolutely consequential for this next generation: the climate crisis and artificial intelligence. We aren't just going to lean in on these issues. We're going to lead into these opportunities. And we're going to set an example right here on campus and reach net zero emissions on campus by 2040. We're going to continue to lead in STEM in our own way, a way that nobody else can, by focusing on how STEM intersects with the humanities, the arts, and the social sciences, and how artificial intelligence is quickly blurring disciplinary divides. We're going to prepare our students for the rapidly changing future of work by combining artificial intelligence with the authentic intelligence that only a liberal arts education can provide. Every Barnard student will leave here agile, flexible, and creative as they face futures that transcend our current imaginations. Fifth and finally, we'll be fearless when it comes to our resources. We need sustained financial support as we build our communities of care, create infrastructures of excellence as one Barnard, so that we can lead for tomorrow. So we're going to be fearless in telling Barnard's story to the whole world and making sure the whole world knows about Barnard. And we're going to be fearless in growing our endowment so we reach our first billion by the end of this decade. And I thank Diana and Roy Vagelos and Cheryl and Philip Milstein for making the first major gifts toward that goal last night. Thank you so much. With this support, we will protect the programs that mean so much to the mission of Barnard. We will ensure our financial aid program is the best in class. We will be on the same footing as we compete with the other elite colleges in this country around the globe. It means we go from being the best kept secret to the best college, period. These are the 5 foundations for our future: communities of care, infrastructures of excellence, one Barnard, leading for tomorrow, and the resources to make it all happen. And this won't happen overnight. And I'm confident that everyone in this room will not agree with every single piece of this vision. Many of you may not think we can achieve these goals, but as you heard in the video, I am tenacious, and I know that all of us will come together right now in this moment to begin our work together as one community, as one Barnard, boldly leaning into our history, which makes us special and which we will never lose, while fearlessly leading into a new future together. Thank you so much.
I've had the opportunity to hear President Rosenbury talk about her vision for the college on many occasions, and I've never been more excited about Barnard's future under her leadership. A ceremony provides a wonderful opportunity for learning about an honoree while also celebrating beloved traditions and aspects of an institution. And music is the perfect medium for this. For instance, the processional was a rendition of Home by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. This song was chosen because it is one of President Rosenberry's favorites, but also because it reflects what makes Barnard feel like a home to so many. The people, the community, the found family. Home is wherever I'm with you, as the chorus goes. And now, another Barnard tradition that many of you may know about during our college ceremonies is the singing of our alma mater, written by May Appleton Parker, class of 1904. At this time, I invite you all to find your program, and you'll see the alma mater is printed on the back. Many of you have probably sang it before, and now is our chance to sing it together. I hear we have a couple folks who are going to help get us going. So, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, my fellow alumni, and members of the Barnard community, I thank you all for being here. It has been a historic occasion for the college and a stellar official beginning for our president. I am honored and privileged to declare the inauguration of President Laura Rosenbury now adjourned. I ask that all guests please remain seated so that the platform party can recess in an orderly fashion. Once that has happened, please join us in the Diana Center on Barnard's campus for a community-wide celebration. Thank you, everyone.